Hello everyone. Well, in today's video, asymmetric warfare strategy has given me countless victories, making War of Dots a game I once hopelessly struggled to learn into a game that feels almost too easy. Now I find myself commanding an army in a pitched battle against a blue general, who will decide which position do I deserve in the blue army for War of Dots nations. So let's begin with game number 1. So, I'm playing as red. I first decided to retreat the south as it's really hard to cycle there, but that became a mistake. The moment I retreated my southeast, blue can turn the southeast against my center, which is right here. And now I have a little problem. I don't have enough time to make a counterplay before I'm already down a lot of troops. The game is far from over. Still have a fighting chance. So as usual, I move my reserves to the cities. Well, as a dutiful beginner to intermediate player I am, that's what I do. Except, it wouldn't work so well this time. Yes, looking here, the two units are defending a city that is not under any threat. They're wasting their time. So now just this slight disadvantage is enough to lose me the game. So yes, I am very successful in putting blue into an overextended position, which their flanks are open and exposed. But I just didn't have enough troops to capitalize on this, which is a brutal lesson to learn. Now my city reserves are joining the fight. It's a little too late. Blue is gonna take my city. So I'm getting humiliated by the general in game 1. So I sent one unit to go around the south as a last-ditch effort to see if I can encircle the enemy from behind, but they definitely have enough troops to cook me there and stop my attempt. Right now, I do outflank my enemy here, but it's a bit too late. The city is lost. I surrendered.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
So I got absolutely humiliated in game 1. But I'm ready to take my revenge in game 2. So I picked an open map. And now playing as blue, I can use my strategy to the fullest potential to repay the humiliation. Let us begin. So first, I move my troops to my cities as usual, with heavies in the frontline cities to prevent city snipes. As I'm ready to use my cities as a weapon to turn them into kill boxes that absolutely devastate my opponent. But I decided to send my troops to guard some of the backline cities, which is a mistake. That will cost me dearly in the future. But first, I retreat into my wedge formations as usual, and I send over my troops from the north because I see an attack coming in from the south. So I decided to overextend the enemy as I did to all of my opponents in the past. Except my local superior numerical advantage is not as big as I thought. Because my opponent left all the cities undefended, and most of my elite numbers are back in the cities. So the initial exchanges went poorly for me. I left a scouting unit in the north, making sure that I see all the enemy movements. But I'm having a little problem with cycling my troops. You see, I'm a pretty new player. With my strategy, I can defeat the odds of not being good at the game, except when it actually comes down to a war of attrition where I have to cycle my troops, I'm gonna get outplayed. My micro skills are just very clumsy because they're not trained. Now, my north is completely undefended, and my opponent, instead of going for my city, turns straight for my center. A very smart move. And now, my infantry units flanking my center is just crumbling before I can even react. But yet, the game is far from over. And now, with the confidence, my opponent decides to push for my northern city. And I have to rush to defend it at all costs. And looking here, this line is held well by my opponent, which means I cannot really pull off encirclements using my city's zone of control like I do to all the other opponents who are not as good as this one. So I'm getting outmaneuvered, out-microed on all the fronts. In the south, I gain some of the initiative back, but with my clumsy micro here, accidentally making a ship, did really big damage to my troops. But now, this flank is opening, an opportunity that I must seize before it's too late. The only chance to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, or the only chance for our opponent to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. So I decided to go for it. The south is turning against red, which is very good for me. And the north just clinging on to my city, and the breakthrough just never happens, at least not yet. Then my reinforcements flow into the north, and the troop advantage that my opponent has is turning back. Here I sense the opportunity. My opponent is overextended in the north, dangerously. Very dangerous. And my center stands like a mountain. Here, trap is sprung. Now red is fighting in the most congested space ever, very close to taking my city, but now it's at risk of losing the entire north. The troop advantage is down to like 2,000. So this is how the game is turning back in my favor. So I keep marching on and on, relentlessly pursuing the red north, trying to absolutely annihilate it. Because if I do, the game is over. The game will be over because red is probably going to surrender. There's no chance left. But my opponent manages to hold open the line. And I, in the frantic chase, overextended myself. And this encirclement, unfortunately, destroyed me. was a little mistake that ended the game. From now on, I'm back to the defense. Red is no longer in danger. And the only thing I can do now is to defend as valiantly as possible, to make every step difficult, and prolong the game to the best of my ability. Which is what I'm doing. And here, the clumsiness of my cycle show up in an even worse state. I'm getting out microed in every single front. I'm always a step late. I go for a flanking maneuver in the north to try to turn the game around, but it just wasn't enough. I tried to pinch my enemies in the north city, but my double pincer maneuver just didn't have enough troops, and I'm the one surrounded and destroyed. Well, I'm still holding on. The game is still not over. A pro would have resigned, but I wouldn't give up. Giving up is not a part of my terminology. But unfortunately, my incompetent cycling and play makes my troops the ones that are surrounded. But I managed to get a little encirclement that brightens the mood. Get some kills, but it's far from enough. I'm down like 36,000 troops. That's way more than 10%. Down 30% is as good as lost. But I fight it up. Just don't give up. Go for all kinds of flanking maneuvers, creating threats everywhere. But none of that turns out to be enough. And here, my opponent is cleaning me up. But still, I'm making every single step difficult. Encirclement in the center lost me another. This lost me another, probably like 8,000 troops. But I poured most of my healthy units in the north, and that turns the tide in the north, to some extent. But the healthy red units from the cities are pouring into the battlefield. And there's only so much I can do. Now my south is dangerously weak, because I just don't have enough troops. And there, my opponent pushes for my southern city, as it's dangerously undefended. As a last-ditch effort, I try to outflank my opponent. Because if I get an encirclement, the game is back on. Except, it was not to be. There are too many reserves for red, and an encirclement would just be impossible. Now the dam just breaks loose, and the advantage snowballs for my opponent. My last-ditch effort almost got to somewhere, except it wasn't particularly enough. I don't have the troops. No matter how amazing my plans can be, there's no tricks that'll save me if I don't have the troops. There I surrender. At this moment, I thought to myself, what happened? Well, I can almost make a comeback playing against him in game 2. So I decided I'm not gonna give up. My honor requires a redemption. So now let's bring it to game 3. All the rage from previous losses, all the missed chances to win. For everything. This is it. The moment for ultimate revenge. To prove that my new strategy will outplay whoever this is. I don't know who this is. Well, let's begin. So I'm playing as red. As usual, I defend my cities. The unfortunate mistake repeated. Well, blue attacks me in the north straight away, taking positive trades before I can set up my defensive positions, which caught me off balance a little bit. Blue also quickly maneuvered the tanks to the north, because that's where the plain biomes are. Such perfect synchrony. But for me, try to defend my cities. And then blue retreated a little bit to prevent me from doing any shenanigans. And then I cycle my tank to the city to get some healing done. So I do end up setting my position. I'm ready and dug in for this fight. And then I mobilized all of myself to the north. But now, he mirrors my movement. Also, I realized that blue has less troops on cities, so they have a lot more troops in the front line. So the fight continues. Unfortunately, I was slow at mobilizing my troops. And that little difference can prove to be my undoing. Many of my reserves are at the cities not participating in the battle. So the local advantage my opponent has is just skyrocketing as we speak. But I choose not to give up. Because now, there's a little bit of overextension going on for blue, which I can capitalize against. I see my chance and I went for it, trapping and killing one blue unit here. But would that be enough? That's a question. But unfortunately, I'm fighting against greater numbers than I have in the area. And my clumsy cycling and micro is again taking a toll. Then my opponent pushes my city, my heavily fortified city, and assertion of dominance. As he believes, even though I have double the amount of attack power with my tank on the city compared to his tank on the forest, he still believes he's gonna win that exchange. Which he does. Now I am down around 10% of troops. If I don't make anything happen, the game will be over as soon as I even react. And it appears I just don't have enough. Now, even though blue is caught in a concave, in the north, but the superior troop numbers is enough to crush me regardless. So my strategy did work, but just not as intended. Now, I've done the last thing that I can do, which is trying to withdraw to open up the lines and give signs of weakness. But unfortunately for me, my opponent does not fall for any of my tricks and makes sure that the flanks are well protected and the line is completely straight. There's no places that I can exploit. So this war of attrition, as it takes a toll on my troops, will just slowly end the game. And there is nothing I can do. So, to try to make a comeback, I decided to withdraw all of my troops from the south, at least nearly all of them, to help the north. Which probably will go in vain anyways, but it's better to die with a fight. Then, my south is getting attacked by the numerically superior opponent. Still holding on, but I'm losing units bit by bit. So, I slowly withdraw my troops. I try to cycle as much as I can, but it's too late. And now, my opponent has taken so much ground in the south that my own units stop healing. So I have to run them further away. I make a line here in the south as a final ambush, as an attempt to save the game. I want my opponents to overextend and sandwich my center to make a rear charge. But unfortunately, I don't have enough. I just don't have enough. I'm losing everything I own on this battlefield, being absolutely brutalized. The same way I destroy many enemies on ladder and walled off nations using my asymmetrical warfare. Okay, bro, I wonder. Yeah, I wonder why I was cooked. Yeah. Okay, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Well, there's a few advice that he gave me. First, don't put too many heavies on the cities. Make sure my troops will participate in battle. Secondly, get better at cycling, for God's sake. And also, like when I'm retreating, just be a little more careful at what I'm doing. Well, the good ending is I am approved as sergeant for Team Blue in Nations. As always, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.